Good evening and welcome to Arena Australis. This is the first ever Arena Australis draft tournament. And now I've got a couple of famed legends of Arena Australis. Not so much me, but these other two gentlemen yes, I got the side right, that side. And we've got
Nailed
Stumpy here and Adam AV Rip. They're going to be my co-commentators for this draft. And as you can see here, we've got 15 competitors all lined up, and they've all picked Unknown You as their draft Pokemon.
it.
Obviously not. That's just what we've got in the graphic, and this will be updating as we go. So first off, I want to introduce Stumpy. Stumpy, tell us a little bit about yourself and your Pogo background.
Hey on guys, been pretty much day one player from Sydney, Australia, or just south of, and yeah, mostly into the PvP thing now, but used to be pretty big on the raids, but yeah, more PvP these days, and yeah, that's about it, mate.
Excellent. And Adam, you are big in the content creation world. You're a big deal. That's why we've hidden your face, isn't that right?
Yeah, that's right. No other reason at all. No, I appreciate you having me as a panelist. If you guys don't know me, I'm Adam from Perth, Western Australia. I'm well known for my articles in the Pokemon Go Hub. I've been doing that for about a year now. I'm big into the PvP scene as well, and I've recently started streaming, which I'm really enjoying. So best of luck, everyone, today, and I'll hand it over to the doctor.
Thanks, Adam. That's great. So we're just going to push straight into this thing. So we're doing a snake draft. The red dots were there in case we did bans, where there's no bans. There's too many people for bans. There's not enough Pokemon in Pokemon Go for bans. So we're just going to be going straight into it. And you couldn't write a better script. Like, genuinely, this is completely... I did 5 randomizations of this list, and we actually got Fish on a Heater coming out at number 1 in the pick. So we will be jumping over to the competitors' voice channel now, and we're going to hear, hopefully not from everybody, but from Fish on a Heater, and hear his pick.
And the team here, all
Hello, competitors. So you guys are live. Everyone can hear what you're saying. And the only person we want to hear from right now is number 1, our man, Fish on a Heater. Fish, have you got your first pick ready?
How long have I got to decide, Trotter?
Well, look, I'm gonna put a 2-minute time limit for round 1, because hopefully we want to punch through round 1 nice and fast, and then we will. It might slow up later as people need to consider things a little bit more. Is that okay? Is 2 minutes all right with you, Fish?
Yes, it is. But it means you guys are going to have to just chat a little bit while I finalize my first pick.
That's fine. I will mute this channel, and Fish, DM me when you're ready with your pick.
Okay, can do.
All right, so Fish is gone now. I was hoping. Who would have thought we'd have any struggles here? Stumpy, what would your first pick be if you were looking at doing a draft?
Yeah, well, looking at the change in meta, I think you got to stick to with the actual original meta. Azu's still so strong, hasn't really been nerfed or nothing that's been buffed has sort of given it any problems. So I'd probably be sticking with Azu for the first pick. It's so interesting moveset and also just covers a lot of bases.
Yep, it's a good pick. There's no arguments here about Azu. What about you, Avi? What would your philosophy be? How would you go about picking your number 1 pick in this draft?
Well, for me, personally, I've noticed that people in drafts, they sort of try to throw people off guard. And what I'd do is come up with an off-meta lead, such as Shadow Morwell, to try and catch all the, maybe all the grass users and steel users and all that kind of stuff. So I take a different approach, personally, to try and throw things off. So the sneaky play I'd like to do.
So you obviously hated Grasshole in GBLs then.
Hate is such an understatement. Yes, I absolutely. It's a disaster. Get rid of it with one.
Cool. So we've got Fish. We're coming back live now. And hello. We are live. Fish has picked his first pick. Fish, reveal to the masses what you have picked.
Guys, I will be going with Defense Deoxys.
Get him out of here.
All right, they're gone now. All right, so we have Deoxys Defense coming in. I mean, it's a cracker, right? Like,
Oh yeah.
that's it. I mean, I've led with this in a lot of GBLs. I got a lot of respect for old DD here. He is a solid first pick. Hopefully, with Jaya does not want that Defense Deoxys. Otherwise, this could be a long, long video, guys. So solid pick. Would you guys? You happy with that? Stumpy, have you Rick?
Yeah,
Hello?
yeah. I'm like I said, it's such a strong, even as lead, good as a safe swap. It's just such a strong Pokemon counter. Probably the best fast move in the game, in my opinion. And yeah, it's just so much diversity. You can throw people off with movesets, especially with draft being able to change your movesets based on opponent. I think it has so much play in this format.
Love it. All right, we will keep moving on. I will hear what we have from our next battler.
Even go
Well,
Jaya,
you could do
hello.
Shadow
Hello,
Shock, Peter.
Jaya. You are next pick. Do you need some time or have you got your pick ready to go?
No, I was going to go Defense Deoxys, but I guess I'm forced to go Azu now.
All right, thank you. And we will be
You went
big
Marrow.
with you soon, Brody. Won't take long. All right. So literally, we've got like the predictable picks, right? This is what we expected. Azu. Sorry, I shouldn't talk as I try and do this, but there we go. The bunny rabbit's there. Solid, right? Anything we need to say about Azu?
Not really much to say. I don't think about Azu. Obviously, everyone knows it's a very safe lead. You know, you can't really go wrong with it.
Yep, just nerf it. Let's go. All right, let's see if Brody's ready. All right,
course.
stream,
You
we are
get
back.
the-
Brody, what have you got for us?
Alola Marowak, please.
Alola Whack. Interesting. Love it.
Okay.
All right, that's something I was not predicting this early. Adam, what do you think of that early pick of Alola Whack?
I like it. It's a bit risky, obviously, because I feel like there's going to be a lot of counters to lead, but you know it could throw some people off guard with the Shadow Ball, and now with the new move Shadow Bone, I think it's a really good option.
Yeah, couldn't agree anymore. I still think it's too early. I think it's really showing sort of a hand. I think, especially when you're gonna have to wait for another like 18 Pokemon before you're gonna have a chance at your next one. But I mean, it's there. It's good. I would expect it somewhere in the draft, but personally, just not in that number one slot.
Bit surprising, yeah.
Yeah, most definitely.
All right, I am trying to end meetings and do things that I shouldn't be doing. All right, let's hear. Let's see what Unkempt Beast has to say for us. Welcome back, gentlemen. Oh my goodness, this is going to be an interesting bout of banter.
In 2 minutes.
Unkempt Beast, what is your
my
pick?
pick is going to be Shadow Machamp.
Fantastic. All right. Now, Shadow Machamp, I think, loses to all of these other Pokemon that have been picked so far. Wow. Boys, what I'm lost.
All
What do
I
you
can
think?
say is better have a safe swap. Better have something in the back if you're going to lead Machamp, especially Shadow variant.
Yeah. So the Shadow is an option that they will only pick once they go into the Sylph. I can't do the Machamp graphic here. So what would you? Are you thinking of pairing up Machamp with anything else? Are you looking for a Dark to counter the Psychic, but then you're weak to what do you pair Machamp with?
Yeah, it's quite tough because I think in a draft it's sort of good to establish your sort of first 2-3 picks, sort of establish sort of your core and then build around it. So I sort of think Machamp's more of a late-ish pick where you can sort of build around it. And that I don't know how strong it is as a first round pick, but also if you have it unchecked, like you will have it often in draft it, you can't cover everything. So Machamp unkept is sort of can roll over a team.
Yeah, excellent. Now we've got a pick in here from our third M. He is not audible in this one, but he has picked the Trappy Fish, my man.
The pick.
So it is in there. That is a solid pick. That's actually what I was predicting would be in the first pick. That's something I think I would have gone for round one. It's just a pain to kill, right?
exactly. I think if you're not equipped with the right Pokemon, it is definitely a pain to deal with. It's got, Rock Slide, Earthquake. What can go wrong with that?
Beautiful. All right, let's keep this moving.
Modern.
Hello,
Yeah.
Caddy Wrangler. Caddy, you guys would have seen that Third Ham has picked Galarian Stunfisk. If you can't see that, that is out.
Yes, I'm on the stream right now watching.
And Caddy Wrangler, what are you going for, my friend?
I'll go the Shadow Snowman, a Bomber Snow.
Ooh.
Wow, a Bomber Snow early. Obviously, a big fan of Sunrise Cup. And it is right there. A Bomber Snow. Interesting. Anything to say about a Bomber Snow, fellas? I'm going to try.
I mean, it
Yep.
only counters one of the other Pokemon there, which is the Azumarill, and even then, it's not the greatest counter. So it's definitely risky, but let's see how it plays out.
Yeah, I think some of these people are not thinking about just counting the Pokemon above them. They're actually looking at building a team. Obviously, some people have an idea of the team they want to build and what they want to have covered. And potentially, Caddy Wrangler is scared of flying and water. So take a Bomber Snow. All right, I'm going to try and punch through as many of these as we can quickly, and we'll see how we go. So you're crossing over to the boys now. Glistening Viper, what is your pick?
Give him a Pidgey.
Is that an actual pick?
Yeah.
Please.
Bastiodon, done. Bastiodon it is. Solid, right? Solid pick, solid mon.
Yeah, most definitely.
Cut
Do I
like.
sense a gospel team?
All right, excellent.
Begs to
Hawk
differ with the
Aussie.
Machamp.
Hawk Aussie, do you know what you want to pick?
Machamp can actually beat Skarmory in some shielding scenarios.
Yeah, but with
I
like
shall pick the
100
Swampy.
energy.
Sorry, I couldn't quite hear that, Hawk Aussie. Can you please repeat?
Swampert.
Swampert, thank you. Swampert is locked in.
Atropius, the banana plant.
Ooh.
Wow, it's there. It's something I still. Have you guys got a Tropius?
I do, yeah. I haven't actually used it, but I've seen it many times in Go Battle League, and it just wrecks my team.
It's
very
so
tanky and has
frustrating.
damage, and it's very versatile. I think it's a great pick.
Well, we're over halfway through the first
That's
round.
good. I picked
All
that
right,
up,
Gary.
Was it 10?
200% Gary. What have you got for us in your next pick?
With the 10th pick of the Arena Australis draft, Team 200% Gary would like to select Surfetched.
It's the next best thing.
It's the next best thing. Have you guys used Surfetch much?
I actually used it last night for the first time ever, and I went 9-0 with it as a lead.
Oh.
It is insane, that Pokemon. If you can, shield it up and just preserve it for late game, oh man, it can just wreck through everything. I love it.
Now, as you can see here, Epic Cactus has DM'd me that he wants Vigoroth. Like,
Ooh, good pick.
the ultimate, no, not the ultimate, but a really good safe switch in a lot of scenarios. If they don't have counter.
Everyone's forgotten
Agent
about
Magikarp, hello. What is your pick, my friend?
Umbreon.
No making around, just straight up Umbreon. That's all he has to say. And I think Umbreon is actually one of the most underrated picks in a draft format. And even in Open Great League, like there's just nothing that it's like even the fighters, it's a pain. He's so bulky that it's an absolute pain to deal with.
Besides Bastiodon, I can't think of another tanky Pokemon such as Umbreon. So it's just it's spammy, it does a lot of damage, and it's tanky. What more could you want?
So Achilles Hero, you are up with your draft pick.
I shall select Hypno.
Oh, Hypno. Interesting. I like it. Moveset, it gives you so much flexibility, right?
I believe that's.
Sorry, you go.
I believe that's the first pick we've had that's outside the top 100. To be honest, it's actually dropped way down the rankings in the last couple of months. But yeah, I believe that's the first one we've had that's outside the top 100. Yeah, I'm gonna say Altaria really hasn't. Like, it's very surprising not to see Altaria this early. Even though with the introduction of a few like Galafisk really put a dampener on that as a mon, but in a draft format, it's still so strong. There's not really too many mons that counter its arguably the best flyer, along with Skarmory as well, that hasn't been picked. So the flyers have really not had much love in the first round. Usually they sort of get picked off pretty early, especially with 15 picks. I think it's quite interesting that we haven't seen either of those flyers picked as well, just based on, especially Skarmory lately with the Brave Bird buff. It is a very, very strong mod.
Yeah, I agree. I can only see Tropius as the only flyer here. I thought there'd be a lot more too.
And he has picked, I think, one of the a really underrated Pokemon that, especially in this format, just does work. And it's our little purple friend there, Sableye. I love my Sableye, and in this current Marsh Cup, it's one of my favorites. I'm going to put it out there. Bring a Charmer against me because I'll probably lose, but I love Sableye. Now, Leoki, hello. Leoki, we have you up. You get two picks, my friend.
Nice. I'll take Scrafty for my first round, and I'll take Skarmory for the next.
Oh, that's strong.
There it is. That's a nice way of being able to do it, right? Just bam, bam. Scrafty and
a fighter and a flyer. You know, that's already such huge coverage, and you know, with how bulky both those Pokemon can be against the right situation, I think it's really good.
Yeah.
Yeah, Scrafty just the momentum Pokemon. If you let a couple of power punches through and you don't have any checks for it, it can just absolutely tear through teams.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think that might even put a little bit of pressure early to see some charm users come into the game. Like,
I think charm users are the most underrated. Like in draft format, especially, there's not too many counters really for the charmers like that are fully walled. So it's kind of, if you have a charmer, they generally do really well in draft format.
Fish, do you need time for your next pick?
A little bit.
Come on, mate. You've heard two back to back already.
All right, we've muted them. Classic Fish. Is that a strong core? Do you see that Mantine DD as a strong core?
I think it is. You know, it's one of those Pokemon that it's so annoying to deal with if you don't have the right counters. It's just going to keep lowering your attack, and you know, it makes you want to throw your phone on the floor. And you know, you've got that Deoxys to have, you know, the sort of tanky Pokemon. So I think they do synergize quite well. It'd be interesting to see what his third pick is, but hopefully it'd be something with you know, a decent attack stat. But we'll have to wait and see.
He's very defense orientated. Hey.
Definitely.
Oh, sorry, I muted Fish. What did you pick?
Alolan Mark.
Alolan Mark. All right, so we have had a little break, freshened up, and we're going to have a quick review of each of our favorite teams that we really like so far in this draft. There's actually lot of really good teams here, so this is no way our tick of approval as to who's going to win or lose this tournament. But Adam, who are you liking in this draft so far?
So looking at the teams, probably my favorite would have to be Dank Broad's team, which is the third one down. I really like the Alola Marowak lead. I think that will catch a lot of people off guard, especially with having the access to Shadow Ball or even Shadow Bone. You never know what's going to happen. And especially with the Wigglytuff safe swap, Charm, even against stuff that's not very effective against, it all still adds up. And it's such a tanky Pokemon. And I think if he plays it right and saves at least one or two shields in the back for Mew for the end game sweep, I think that can work really well for him.
Yeah, I completely agree. And I mean, the moveset we talked about it, Mew just has so many options available to Dank Broad if he's willing to spend all 800 TMs to do it. Stumpy,
Yeah.
who are you loving here so far?
Yeah, look down the list. A lot of strong teams. I do really like Glistening Vipers team. That like Bastodon Cresselia instantly was a strong core. Cresselia's got so much bulk, so does Bastodon. You've got cover for the fighters. You do have Lapras, which is also weak to fighting, but also Cresselia, you'd have to risk it running a fighter when you've got Cresselia just sort of lurking around, especially with the move set. You can change it between. If you're willing to throw some elite TMs around, you can change from Grass Knot and back, or Grass, yep. But, I think that's the strongest team in my opinion.
Yeah, it's definitely the bulkiest team. All three of those boys, they got big booty in the back. They can take a hit. My favorite team personally is actually Agent Magikarp. I think he's got those three Pokemon have coverage everywhere. They cover each other's strengths and weaknesses, and they all do reasonably well in neutral matchups. So that's going to put in a lot of work so far, and I wouldn't be surprised when the tournament actually happens if we even just see those three being run, because they're going to do a lot of work in any meta available. They're doing well. All right, so let's cross over to our competitors and see what they pick for their round 4 Pokemon. All right, gentlemen, how are we doing? We are going to go through your next round of Pokemon, and whoever's phone is buzzing on the desk, can you put it on a pillow or something? It's distracting me. All right, Stumpy, Adam, what do you think of these picks in this round? We're starting to see a little bit of difference here. A few of those non-meta Pokemon coming out. What's the worst pick? What are you least happy with so far?
Oh boy, there's a lot to look at. I think definitely the FOMO has kicked in, and there's not too many options. All the top end picks have already been chosen, so it's kind of running down low with the picks here. Probably my least favorite would be whatever the hell that Pokemon is Dank Broad chose. I don't even know how to pronounce it.
Yeah,
LGM, I think, whatever that is. I don't know what that does, and I don't think I'd ever choose that.
I believe it's Confusion Rock Slide Psychic, I believe. I've faced a few of them in Ultra Premier.
Okay.
Bringing them as the anti sort of Venusaur, bit of cover there, and then Rock Slide for the Flyers. So it's it's an interesting pick, but it's very, very glassy in Great League. So a bit of an interesting pick, but it might have more play. It definitely has more play in draft, just based on the less threats you'll have from individual teams. There won't be the same sort of picks, like you won't be having every Azu facing it and that sort of thing. But it's an interesting pick.
I think it's definitely got the surprise factor to it. Not too many people, I assume, would know exactly what moveset it's running or how, glassy or tanky it is. So that could be a benefit in itself, but we'll have to see.
It's interesting because it's called as cover for the fighters, so it's which his team doesn't really need the cover for fighters, so it is an interesting pick for that team. I think the strongest pick for the round was Magikarp again. Getting Toxicroak 4th round is such a strong pick to go with that team. It's ticking more and more boxes every time he gets this team. He's already got cover for the its counters, so it's looking very, very good.
Definitely looking like a solid team.
Yeah, 100%.
Couldn't agree with you, gentlemen, anymore with Agent Magikarp. Like, Toxic, oh man, like, it puts in work. If it gets a slight energy advantage, good night Azumarill, which you'd think would be the top fighting counter. So that could be one that's really, really tough. An early front runner seemingly emerging, but Glistening Viper as well. That Ivysaur actually gives some really, really nice coverage. And apart from Tropius, no, Razor Leaf users have been picked yet. So my guess is we might even see Fish on a heater. He loves Vileplume. We may see a Razor Leaf Vileplume come out. And come on, someone's got to pick up Victory Bell this round, surely.
Yeah, I think Victory Bell does it's a good mon for like the GBL format. Just the fast move pressure is so significant, but I do think it will struggle in this format with the amount of you are picking it purely for like really water types is what you're bringing it for. You're not taking it for much else. A couple of rock types here and there, but not like it's not the biggest threat in this format.
Yeah, but that grass coverage is good. And I mean, I got to say, because Victory Bell was something I took to Season 1 Worlds over in South America, and it put in work. There was no shadows back then, and even in neutral matchups with one shield, it would do really, really well. It could get you out of some, just that fast move damage just does so much for you. It was a really nice Pokemon for me. And with the shadow variant now, you could surprise a few people. Like, it's not the grass hole crap. I led my Whiscash into a Razor Leafer, but we'll see. We'll see how it pans out. All right.
I do like the Rainy Castform pick though. I do think that's a very strong one, especially in draft. It's just big coverage. He's got Azu cover, so he's picked out the cover because the first 3 mons he's picked are all sort of weak to Azu. So in draft, it doesn't matter as much to sort of cover the one mon in particular, but you do sort of have to be aware that he's noticed that 3 mons are weak to Azu. In that specific matchup, he has picked up some coverage for that as well.
Yeah, fantastic pick from third in. All right, so we're going to move into the next round of picks, and we will have our boy Fish on a heater coming up first. Put the unknown back in, and we'll see what Fish is keen to pick for us. Two or three crazy picks in there.
I think I know which ones you're talking about as well.
Well,
I think it's crazy that Lantern was chosen so late. It's got such good coverage, with Thunder and Hydro Pump. It just creates so much diversity. But yeah, the picks I think you were talking about was obviously the Articuno, the Raikou, and even the Seviper. Definitely very interesting. But they can have their good matchups, so it will be very exciting to see how they play it out.
Yeah, Seviper, one of the few Pokemon that is likely to have a poison fast move. Now, obviously, we know Toxicroak can. I think Ivysaur might be able to as well. but there's very few. Beedrill, yep.
Beedrill has poison jab.
Beedrill has poison jab, so we're seeing some people picking up some like screw you fairy Pokemon, right?
Yep.
All those Charmers out there. Is there anything that surprised you? Like you're like, how does that work in that person's team? Like the biggest thing I've seen. Sorry, that's not a surprise to me. We have finally had our first fire Pokemon in Victini. Do you?
It's a very solid pick. You know, like it's great end game and like finalizing the win if you can charge up to V creates and save shields for it. Yeah, it's very deadly, especially with how quickly it can charge up to the move. It's a great pick. I thought I'd see more fire types. Obviously, there's that Mawile, which has access to Fire Fang and Parrot Punch, which could just completely juice it up. But yeah, I thought there'd be a bit more. So it's great to see more fire types being included.
Yep, Stumpy. Anything you've noticed?
Yeah, I'm still shocked that we haven't seen Shiftry. Is my most notable that we haven't seen. It's got the ability. It's got Razor Leaf. It's got Snarl. It has Hurricane if you want to cover some flyers. It has such a good moveset, and I'm actually very shocked to not see it come out yet. It's probably the most notable pick I can see. Definitely some spice out there, which is good to see. It's interesting there's no fires. I don't believe there's actually many fires that fall in top 100. Unfortunately, I think you've got Victini and AWAC are sort of your pseudo sort of fire types. They've not got much for that, but like apart from that, Blaziken and Typhlosion, they're not sort of too much of a threat in Battle League or even this format.
They're not, but Blastburn is a massive threat. Blastburn is a big threat. I think the person who's really picked up the most value in that round would have to be Glistening Viper. Getting that Hitmonchan just works perfectly with that team that he's lining up here. So that, for me, that was the big, that's moved him back up in, like we talked about him in the halfway point as being, a real contender, and that Hitmonchan has just really jumped that up. And I was surprised mostly by that Blastoise pick by Agent Magikarp.
Again, strong moveset. It's got Skull Bash, Ice Beam, Hydro Cannon. Obviously, the Comday moves are just silly, overpowered for the game. So definitely a good mon. Definitely, you can tell he's looking at what he's trying to cover all bases.
And I can see Glistening's plan. I think he wanted to choose those high defense Pokemon that would have technically been chosen by other people. He wanted to sort of lock those in and then choose sort of the spicy, high attack Pokemon such as Ivysaur and Hitmonchan that will throw people off. So it's really good to see that he's actually bringing those in, and it'll be exciting to see his third Pokemon.
Yeah. So the one thing I've noticed here, I think Agent Magikarp either going to pick up a grass Pokemon or something that's going to be better against the Charmers than Jirachi's really his only charm counter at the moment. And otherwise, it's just everything's so open. It's a really interesting meta so far, and I think Brody may have the hardest time with his team. We identified him early with those first three, but doubling up on a psychic Pokemon could be rough. He's got nothing that's going to save him from any water Pokemon.
It's interesting to see. I think Granbull was a really good pick up late. It's got the ability you can run either, especially with the move. Like the moveset changes its pick completely because you can run it as a Charmer if you've got big concerns about running it a Charm, but then you've got Snarl for that fast energy game, Crunch, close combat, play rough. It's got a really strong moveset. Bit glassy, but it can do a lot of damage.
Another thing I've noticed, no one's chosen Dusclops. It can be a really good safe swap. It's got access to some decent moves such as Fire Punch, which is what the current draft meta is lacking, and obviously Shadow Punch. So it'd be exciting to see if anyone chooses Dusclops at all.
Yeah, it wouldn't surprise me if there's some fire moves picked up. Fire Pokemon, maybe not, but definitely something with access to fire moves.
There's another notable. I think I always said Dusclops. What's the Sinister Cup's getting a little bit forgotten about. Poliwrath is a really good Great League mon.
True.
Yeah, very popular in Ultra League as well. But yeah, all right. let us now move on to the final round of this draft, and we'll see what our competitors have come up with. All right, so we're back down to the final round now. There are actually a ton of Pokemon that are really great. We were talking about this off air. There are some really good picks still available. Let's have a chat to our competitors, see how they're doing, and see who's ready to get in with the picks. That is good. And look, there's no better way to finish than the way we started with AA, strong man, hard hitting, fish on a heater. Fish, do you require like 2 bottles of Johnny and some ladies of the night before we get this pick from you, or are you ready and happy to make your pick, my friend?
Well, look, if you want to give me those things anyway, that's absolutely fine. If Shiftry hasn't been picked yet, is that right?
Shiftry has not been picked.
Oh, wait, no, it hasn't been
Final
picked yet.
pick.
'cause-
Wow.
Right.
That is-
I'm gonna go Alolan Raichu.
No victory bell. No Shiftry. Surprised.
The F-No pair.
Oh, wow.
Wow, there we have it, gentlemen.
Wow.
Thank you so much for putting up with the time this has taken. I very much look forward to seeing your battles. I will get the tournament started this evening. All right, so we've wrapped up our draft here. We've got our analysts. We've had a look through some of these teams, and that was a long slog getting through all that, and some really different picks. So people obviously think very differently to me, and that's one thing that's great about Pokemon, because it'd be really boring if everyone's like me. So I love some of these teams. There's a few things I'm a little bit questionable on. Some teams started really strong at the start, and they just didn't quite get some of that synergy throughout here. So first, unfortunately, we're going to focus on some of the things that we have a few question marks on. So I'm going to throw it over to Adam. You had a few question marks of some Pokemon in certain teams, Adam. What have you noticed here?
I did, yeah. So just looking at the teams, I don't want to make anyone feel bad about their team choices, but I can see some weaknesses in some. And one of them in particular that stands out is Caddy Wrangler's team. Judging by the first 3 Pokemon, obviously I'm sure we can all three, it has one really, really big weakness, which is the fighting types. Completely shreds through all 3 of those, being Abomasnow, Registeel, and the double weakness of Sagoon. He only really has, one solid solution, being that Golbat. But other than that, it's going to be a rough time if he faces up with a fighting type. So it would be interesting to see where he puts his Pokemon within his teams. So maybe he'll choose Golbat lead because he knows that his team is weak, but we'll have to see how it pans out.
Yeah, and I mean, with that Golbat and Tentacruel, if he comes up against the Confusion user with a fighter, it could be a very one of those RPS situations, and if you don't line it up right, it's a risky play. So, interesting to see those comments. Stumpy, anything you have any question marks over?
Yeah, I do. I think about Hawk Aussie's teams. Very similar scenario with the fighting types. He's going to have a bit of an issue. The double weak Sand Slash. He's got Ferrothorn. Doesn't like to see fighters. He does have some coverage with Charm. Mawile doesn't want to see fighters. Raichu does have Kanto Raichu can have access to Charm for a bit of coverage, but I do think that may be a problem for him as well. A couple of
Yeah.
teams with similar scenarios, like we said. I think the biggest problem was the I think the Thunder Punch Hitmonchan would cause problems for the Golbat and the Tentacruel as well. So that'll be a big problem. That Mon, I believe, beats all three, or all six, sorry, of the one team. So there's definitely some holes opening up in some teams, but
So,
go anyway. Like they're lead dependent, it does change a lot of things.
so you've identified Glistening Viper as just annihilating Caddy Wrangler here.
I do think I think that will be his, from first look, the toughest matchup in terms of one Pokemon specifically causing a problem for a team.
Yeah, I like that. I can agree. And also, over on the flip side, Achilles Hero also has 3 Pokemon that are going to really struggle against fighters. The Aggron, the Lucario, and even that Articuno. Even though it's flying, that Ice typing, it's not that bulky at that level. But it has Hypno. So it actually has Hypno, and even Venusaur is actually quite good coverage for those fighters with that poison subtyping. So he has a weakness, but he has the coverage as well, which I think is something that Caddy Wrangler is probably lacking in that regard. Like like you said, Golbat's there, but it doesn't want to take a Thunder Punch from that Hitmonchan. So we'll see. But I mean, that's the thing. This draft tournament, there's chances you're not even going to meet some of these other teams, right? You're only going to be playing 4 or 5 rounds. I think it's going to be a 4-round tournament with 15 people.
Yep.
But we will see what else happens now. Adam, anything else you've noticed that you want to make a comment on here? Because you said there's a few interesting things lying around that you wanted to chat about.
I mean, I'm happy to talk about, the team I think that has the most coverage, and that I believe is Fisher's team. Obviously he's got Pokemon that can obviously adapt to whatever Pokemon comes that he has to verse. Sorry, with the Mantine, you can obviously make it be a flyer or you can make it be a water type user. It just depends on what you're up against. Even with that Beedrill, it's got so many moves that actually have great coverage against whatever you're versing. And I just think it's probably one of the most solid teams out there. There's not many spice picks. It's all just solid picks that you'd see in a regular tournament or even GBL. So I think it's a really, really solid team. And I think he's got a great chance of winning it.
Are we calling it now? Are you putting a 20 down for Fish on a heater to take out this draft tournament there, Adam?
I think I might have to be honest. Looking at all the other teams, they've obviously all got their weaknesses and their strengths, but I think Fisher's team just has that versatility edge towards the others that not too many other teams have. So, I'm kind of happy to put my 20 down and see how it goes.
Wow, fantastic. Now, I do want to make a quick comment here. My boy, my Townsville friend, Dank Broad, I loved his first 3 picks. And I'm not going to lie, I'm not a fan of his last 3. I think those last 3 are great Pokemon in a limited meta. In a big, wide open meta like this, they could be struggling a little bit. But I've battled against Brody. He's a really good battler. So there's no counting him out. But could be a little bit of a tough time here not having sort of that really wide range of moves and flexibility with things. No big tanks, nothing to really worry a proper flyer here. Crustle, even with Rock Throw, it's still going to take a lot of damage. It's not the bulkiest Pokemon. That's a question mark team that I have personally. Still able to do it, don't get me wrong. I don't think any of the battlers in here should be counted out at all with any of their teams. But definite question mark there for me. Stumpy, what else have you seen that you don't like or something that you do like?
Couple of dislikes. I really think that the biggest pick that was missed out on was Shiftry. I think that there was a couple of teams there that would have really used its coverage, it's not the bulkiest Pokemon, but Snarl is a fast move. Razor Leaf is an option if you really need it. But Snarl just charges so quickly. You've got so many good moves to go with. So I'm a bit disappointed to see that one left out and very surprised not to see it. They did mention it late in the draft and it didn't quite get picked up. I'm a big fan of a sort of sleeper pick for Engineer. I think that team has got a lot of play in this meta. The Victini always anything. If you get it, Head Start and Energy, it can just do so much damage. I don't think anyone really appreciates the V-Create. Doesn't matter if resists or anything. I don't think anyone really wants to take that move. And he sort of covered his bases quite well in the late. He had a bit of a fighting problem with the first 3 picks, apart from Tropius. The Melmetal and the Dugong don't want to see fighters, which were picked quite early. But yeah, I can see that team as my sort of sleeper pick to go a fair way.
Yeah, definitely. Like if you like a roughie out on the horses, that's probably one for you to consider picking up. Now, I'm going to move on to the teams we think we're going to win. So I'm saying my favorite team has just changed with the last 2 Pokemon that have been picked. I am saying that my favorite team in this tournament is Glistening Vipers team, but the person who I think is going to win, I would put my money on Third M. Not a lot of people will have faced that Mandibuzz. It could be something that's a real struggle to take out. So he's just got some really nice Pokemon that are really good coverage. The Vileplume, I think, it is a Razor Leafer. I'm assuming he'll use it as a Razor Leafer. Could have gone with a Victory Bell. Could have even gone with the Shiftry. I think he was less likely to go with Shiftry in that last pick, purely because he has the Mandibuzz and the Medicham, which would absolutely get annihilated by the Charm users. So he doesn't want to have something else that's going to really bring out that Charm. So kind of steadying back on that. But Vileplume's going to resist those Charms because of the Poison subtyping. So still a great pick. Could have been a Victory Bell, but maybe has a rank 1 Vileplume and is really happy to use that. All right, boys. Who's your pick? Who's your pick now? Adam has said that he thinks Fisher Heater is going to win this. I've actually gone with Third M, Sub, Glistening Viper being a really strong team. Last 2 picks. Before the last 2 picks, we said it earlier, I was going to take Magikarp. Blastoise and Gloom covers the team nicely. But I just really feel like some people enhance their teams, and those 2 Pokemon probably drop those teams down just a little bit. So, Stumpy, round us out. What is your pick for the win?
Yeah, as much as you let down by the last 2 picks, I do think Blastoise is one that sort of slept on in the draft format. It can do a lot of damage with you don't want to take a Skull Bash. It's good mon. I am going to stick with Age of Magikarp. It's a great battler, and I think that he's got a really strong core. There's going to be a lot of teams that aren't going to be able to deal with the first 3 picks. They're just Alteria's now slept on. Really, it's not been around the GBL meta probably because of Stunfisk, to be honest. But in this format, it's got so much play. There's not too many threats to it. Obviously, there's a few that are there, but it said play around in this format. It's going to be an awesome mon to go with. So
All
that's my
right.
pick for the win.
That's your pick. There we go. So our picks are Fish on a Heater, Third M, and Ancient Magikarp as the people who are going to win. And look, I'm going to add in a 4th because I just think Listening Viper's team is so strong and so good. I'm going to put that at equal just because of the team. I love that team comp. I think it's great. Anyway, it concludes the very first draft for Arena Australis. Sorry about the FPS lag. I look forward to seeing you all during the battles coming up as all of these people go head to head. Massive thank you to Adam and Stumpy for joining us tonight. Thank you for being amazing analysts. I appreciate and love you all. And we will see you next time when we're doing this draft for the top 4, and we'll be doing a double elimination tournament with restricted draft picks, so there will be bans when we get to that. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Arena Australis. Good night, and we'll see you next time.
See you later, everyone.
Thanks, guys. Cheers for having me.